You want best fast track lectures for CA inter audit. That also in 100% English. That also for the new syllabus, as per the new content, new question bank. Then do not worry. You are at the right place. Hi, I am CA Pragnesh Kanabar, and I'm in the 10th year of my coaching experience. In these 10 years, in this whole decade, the love and the respect from the student has been enormous. Thousands and thousands of students have studied under our guidance and have scored exemption, have scored all India first in audit, and lots of rank holders have also studied us. Also, the students who are not able to score in audit have studied under us, and they have converted their 25 into 55, their 55 into 75. So do not worry, you are at the right place. You want evidence? Then you can see my YouTube channel for feedback verification, and you can also take it from my team. Now let us come to audit subject. So when we talk about audit subject, there are two modules, module 1 and module 2. In module 1 we have 5 chapters, and in module 2 we have 6 chapters. And as you can see, I am talking completely as per the new syllabus, which is uploaded on the ICAI website. So total 11 chapters. These 11 chapters can be broadly categorized into 2 parts. One is standards on auditing and the other one is non-standards. These 11 chapters, you and me together, along with new syllabus, new approach, new books, new question bank, and wonderful explanations, test series, mentoring and doubt solving. That is your success formula to score a short exemption in less number of hours. But sir, can we trust you for the teaching quality? Thousands of students have trusted me, and even you can trust me. But obviously you would like to verify my teaching, so I am attaching one demo video of the existing syllabus lectures, which I had taken, just for you to understand the teaching quality. Obviously the notes and videos will be as per new syllabus, and it will be uploaded from 1st October 2023 onwards. Sir, why 1st October? Sir, why not now, sir? Because I am recording line by line the videos for the new syllabus. I just don't want to copy paste the existing syllabus videos and rebrand it as new syllabus and give it to you. Many of my friends and colleagues have done that, but that's fine. That is their call. I don't want to do that, because lots of things have changed inside the module, all right, and that needs to be covered. So please enjoy my demo video, and one thing I'm sure of is that after looking at that video, you are going to enroll for these lectures. You can enroll, you will be getting the study material within 7 to 10 days, the hard copy, and also the Google Drive link where the lectures will be uploaded. So do not worry about it. Leave it up to me. Thank you so much.
Chapter number 1, nature, scope and objectives of audit. Nature, scope and objectives of audit. All right. So the very first concept, I told you just think about one concept at a time. Don't look at the full chapter. The very first concept is meaning and definition of audit. Now everyone is at least aware about this thing, that what is audit. All right. It is a service given by practicing chartered accountant in order to examine the financial statements of the entities. After examining the financial statements of the entities, practicing chartered accountant will express an opinion. He will develop a report whether financial statements are correct, whether they are fairly presented, and that report will be relied upon by the shareholders, correct? By the stakeholders, by the owners, by the bank, by the government, by the regulatory authorities. So with my opinion, when a practicing CA has examined the financial statements, with his opinion, people will be able to trust. That is why our subject is auditing and assurance. You audit and you provide assurance, that is the trust. All right. But you are not going to get marks for this shit language that I just said. You are going to get marks for presenting this in the ICAI version. All right. So let us understand the definition of auditing as per the ICAI. Let me tell you very clearly, if there are some students who have already given exams and they are aware about some concepts, I'm not going to assume anything. All right. I am going to teach as if you don't know anything. Correct? Because then what happens is, if I start assuming things, then I will assume few things which you are not aware of, and then that will create problem. So I will be starting from level 0 only. If you are already on level 4 or level 5 of the subject, then you revise the first 4 or 5 levels. But I will be starting in every single topic from level 0. All right. Okay. So everyone over here, meaning and definition of audit. So auditing is an, write down, independent examination. The practicing chartered accountant who is examining should not be influenced by anyone. He should be an independent person. So auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity. Obviously, I am not examining director's Aadhaar card. So auditing is an independent examination of financial information of an entity. Whether you are auditing Reliance Industries Limited, or you are auditing Tirupati Balaji Trust, or you are auditing the Audit Academy financial statements, no matter whichever entity you are auditing, what is the main job? You will examine the financials and you will express an opinion. So they are saying that this entity could be any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. It could be any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. When such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. All right. So listen, students, from these two lines, I am expecting one correct, incorrect. Look at this. Look at question number 2. Question number 2. But before you go to question number 2, can you just say the definition at once without looking at it? So auditing is dash examination, independent examination of financial information of an entity. It could be any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. When such an examination is made with a view to earn money, express an opinion thereon. All right. Okay. Now look at this question number 2, correct or incorrect, that I'm expecting from this. That is how we go in a fast track course. We don't cut it, but we are very much to the point. Correct or incorrect with reasons in short. Objective of audit changes. What is the meaning of the word objective? The purpose of audit. Objective of audit changes with the changes in the size, nature, and complexity of entity's business. Tell me, with the changes in the size, nature, and complexity of business, will the purpose of audit change? Will the purpose of audit change? Yes or no, sir? No, sir. No, sir. So tell me whether this is C for correct or I, C for incorrect. Even you can use I, chalo. C for correct or I for incorrect. Obviously I for incorrect. So we write over here incorrect. What will you write in the reasons? Because you are supposed to explain correct, incorrect with reasons in short. What you will write in the reasons? In the reasons, you will write the whole definition. That is where students, they go wrong, where they are not writing the correct reasons. What happens is correct, incorrect is of 2 marks. Now let me tell you, in the initial lecture, I'll be little slow in explaining these things so that in the further lectures, you get the grip. Now correct, incorrect is of 2 marks. See, if the students who haven't scored in December 21, see if this could be the reason. If correct, incorrect is of 2 marks. So if you write correct, incorrect, and if you, let us say you've written this incorrect properly. Okay. But the reason was completely different. All right. It was nowhere matching, not even 20% match with the suggested answer. Correct. So it was a completely different reason. They will give you 0. They will give you 0. Even though this incorrect you have written properly, still they will give you 0 if the reason is completely wrong. All right. Let us say you have written proper reason, but it is not in the same ICI suggested answer language. You have written proper reason, but it is not in the same ICAI suggested answer language. They will give you 1 mark or 1.5 mark. Understood this? That depends upon the examiner. Either 1 mark or 1.5 mark. All right. And if the reason is not to the point with respect to that ICI language, only 1 or 2 words are here and there, then they will give you full 2 marks. So one more time. If you have written correct, incorrect properly, but if the reason is completely wrong, 0. All right. If you have written correct, incorrect properly, reason is somewhat similar to what they have written, somewhat similar, then 1 or 1.5 mark. And if the reason is 80%, 90% match with what they have written in the suggested answer, all right, then in that case, you will be getting full 2 marks. Am I clear with this? Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. So one more time, we are done with this correct or incorrect. All right. So one more time, the definition, please. Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. Why? When such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. All right. Now, if you do not write the reason, they will anyways give you 0. Oh, that is obvious. You have to write the reason. If there is no reason, they will give you 0. All right. Now look at this. Question number 1. The person conducting audit of financial statements should take care to ensure that the financial statements would not mislead anybody. How can such person be satisfied about the same? Now listen to me. For all the brief answers, all right, you should focus on the requirement, that is the last line of the question. What are they trying to say? What do they want from you? All right. So person conducting audit should take care that financial statements do not mislead anybody. How can such person be satisfied? How will you be satisfied that financial statements, whatever client has presented, those financial statements are correct and they are not misleading anybody? How will you be satisfied? Sir, I will check their books of accounts. Just forget about what is there in the answer. Forget about what is there in the answer. You tell me on your own. Sir, I will check books of accounts. Sir, then there will be accounting entries inside that. Purchase, sales, investment, salary. Then I will have to check the evidence, documents. Okay, so you will need some kind of evidence on it. Then have you studied accounting standard? So you'll have to check accounting standard application. Then have you studied law subject? Then you will have to check whether transactions are in compliance with laws and regulations or not. All right. And you will verify asset, liability, income, expenses. What else you will do? You will play dandiya with the management or what over there. All right. So let us say even if a student has not studied this, all right, there are two ways of answering. When you look at the question, it is possible that you haven't exactly studied for that question, but you write in some general language. All right. You write in some general language. I will be talking about every single doubt that a student has. Fortunately, I've had the opportunity of teaching thousands of students, so I know that what kind of doubts you have. So let us see if your doubts is not getting covered in this, then you may ask some another doubt. So students are like, sir, whenever we are writing brief answers, sometimes we end up writing general language. All right. So for general language, how will they give marks? Let me be very clear. They will check that your answer, how much it tallies with the suggested answer of the institute. All right. For example, in your answer, if you have written that auditor should check the accounting entries, all right, for this particular answer, then they will say that, okay, accounting entries, student has written, it is also there in my suggested answer, half a mark. All right. Then let us say you have said that auditor needs to check the transactions with the evidence. All right. For example, purchase with purchase invoice, sales with sales invoice. Okay. Evidence point is there in the suggested answer. Evidence point even student has written, half a mark. All right. Then let us say you said that the financial statement should be prepared as per accounting standards. All right. Because even if student has not studied this much, so he can write yes or no, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So they will say, okay, accounting standards, half a mark given over here. All right. Now let us say that only these many things tallied. Okay. Then let us say that balance answer, whatever is there in the suggested answer, not even one word is there in your answer. Right? Then they will give you 1.5 and they will finish it off. Are you understanding this? That is how the marking is done. No matter how many Three Idiots movie you have seen, or no matter how many Chichore movie you have seen, but the education system has not yet changed. All right. So, that looks good on movies, but not when I'm taking the lecture. So let me be very clear that at least one word or so of 1 point should tally with their suggested answer. Then they will start giving you the marks. You may see any paper, bring me any certified copy. They would have exactly seen one word and they'll be like, okay, over here. Sir, let us say that this full point I haven't written in their language, but I wrote about accounting entries. You will be given marks for that point. You will be given marks for that point. All right, because no one is a robot. No one can remember full point in the same manner. Not even me after so many years of teaching. Are you getting my point? All right. Okay. So tell me something. Are you understanding that how their marking will be? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. In that case, what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to ensure that we try to understand the full answer and at least we remember few words of every point. All right. Which will fetch me the marks. Which will fetch me the marks. If you go through it, you will be given full marks. Let us say you end up writing every single word that they have given in each point over here. Then you will be given full marks. As simple as that. That is why in my book, you will see that for some answers, for around 40-50% of answers, I have used code words. For around 20-30% of answers, there is no need of code words because through chart work, we can teach students. Then around 20% of 30% answers are such where you have to remember the theory part because you cannot just develop a code over there. Understood this? Okay. But let me tell you, wherever I have given you code words and wherever it is possible to develop code words, you should try and remember it. I'm not saying that by heart the code words. Even with general knowledge, you can score 1.5 mark over here. Understood this? Provided at least one word tallies. But to score a little bit more, to cross that 40, to cross that 60, to cross that 65, you will need some more preparation on your side. All right. Code words you can develop on your own also. But let me tell you, don't just by heart only by code words. All right. Try to understand the logic of the answer also. So I will be explaining the logic. By hearting the code word is your job. You have to sit after the lectures and by heart those code words. Am I clear with this? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So tell me, if you are conducting audit of financial statements, what are the major areas to be checked by you? Sir, I will be checking the accounting entries. Sir, I will be taking the evidence for purchase, sales transactions. Then obviously, come on, yes, CPT, CA foundation level, you have done this. There should not be any error of omission. All right, so look at this. We will check that the entries have not been omitted. There should not be omission, plus there should not be any fake accounting also, correct? So there should not be any fictitious transaction. Fake word is not acceptable in audit something. Fictitious, all right? So there should not be any fictitious transaction. Nothing which is not in the books of accounts should not find the place in the financial statements, all right? Then whatever information is given in the financial statements, balance sheet, P&L, it should be clear and unambiguous. Unambiguous means it should be free from doubts. It should not be confusing. It should not be doubtful. It should be free from doubts. Then we have to check whether accounts have been prepared as per accounting standards. So 1 point on accounting standards, very simple, accounting standards. And then comes the favorite word of the auditor. We need to check whether financial statements present true and fair picture. What is true and fair picture? See, true word stands for you should be factually correct. True word stands for you should be factually correct. And fair word stands for that it should be presented properly. All right. Whatever notes to accounts, financial statements are there, it should be presented properly. Right? So true and fair. So we will have to check whether financial statements present true and fair view. That means it is correct and it is properly presented. It is correct and it is properly presented. All right. Yes, sir. Sir, you look at this code word FAT CEO. F, I'm just confirming once. F for fictitious, A for accounting standards, T for true and fair picture of the financial results, C for clarity of the information, E for entries in the books of accounts, and E for evidence. And then O for omission. There should not be any omission. You get me these words in your answer, and I challenge that you will not go wrong, and you will end up scoring full marks over there. Am I clear with this? Yes. Okay. So first concept, yes. First concept, order. Can the code pass order on the first concept? Meaning and definition of audit. Are you done with this? 2 possible question, 1 brief answer, and 1 correct or incorrect. Done, sir. Done. Close it. Okay. Now, first concept done. 2 questions done. Next, objectives of audit. I told you what is the meaning of the word objective, purpose. All right. Now, everyone over here, I will be doing some presentation. Not necessary that you have to copy this. All right. But if at all you want to, copy and stuff, what you can do is you can keep 1 notebook along with you. Not required. I've given the space in the books itself. Correct. But if students want to voluntarily copy something, then either they can use this space. All right. Or they can, copy it in some other notebook also. All right. So whenever I use the word objective, I will go slow in this concept. Why, sir? Because it hurts me that even finance year students are not writing this concept properly. All right. And they will not give you marks if you're not clear about the word objective, that is purpose of audit. What is the purpose when you are conducting audit of financial statements? What is the purpose? All right. In order to understand the word objective, purpose of audit, let us go to the definition. In definition, we said, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to express an opinion, correct? Our purpose is to express an opinion. Opinion on what? On Russia-Ukraine war? No. Opinion on the financial statements, correct? So that much we know. Roughly, It is expressing opinion on the financial statements. Okay. But in technical language, you should know it properly. Roughly, objective is to express an opinion on the financial statements, but you should know it in the technical language. All right. Now, where is this objective given in our books? Sir, in ICI module. But where exactly technically? In SA 200. Like how your accounting standards have number AS 1, 2, 3. Our essays also have number, and our very first essay is SA 200. Oh, sir has started with SA syllabus. No, Baba. I'm just using the reference of one standard, and I have not started with SA syllabus. So just write down SA 200. First, though, I will make you write the title of this essay. Overall objectives of independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards on auditing. Overall objectives of independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards on auditing. Okay, this is the essay where the purpose of audit is given, that what is auditor supposed to do. Hello, are we learning this because we don't know conceptually? No, we know it conceptually. That purpose of auditor is to express an opinion. Then why are we writing this? To get marks in exams. Are you getting my point? Okay. Now, what is the purpose? Please write down. The objective of auditor is, okay, so you have to express an opinion. But for that, first you will have to verify their financial statements, yes or no, sir? Or automatically you will end up expressing opinion. No, sir, we will have to first verify the financial statements. Obviously, yes. Sir, we will have to get the evidence for the items presented over there. Obviously, yes. All right. Now, in that case, tell me, do you think that auditor is some kind of CBI authority or investigation authority? No. All right. When we are conducting audit, we cannot give guarantee on everything. All right. This is a fundamental concept of audit. I will be elaborating on this concept in the next 30 minutes or 1 hour. That we cannot give guarantee on everything. The maximum thing that we can do is we can help you to build the trust. So our signature and our opinion is not a guarantee. It increases the reliability of the financial statements, but it is not 100% guarantee. And that is the very first line when you are explaining the objectives. Objective of auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance is high level of assurance, but not a guarantee. Normally, when you're having a cup of tea, you can say, you know what, bro, auditor needs to first verify and then express an opinion, bro. Bro, but when you're writing the answer, you have to say that, okay, auditor needs to obtain reasonable assurance. That means high level of assurance and not a guarantee. Achha, what will you verify? Financial statements. All right. But let me write it technically. We need to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from bacteria. Not bacteria, right? Of course, not bacteria. We are worried whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. Listen to me. Yes, this is English batch, so I will not use Bollywood dialogues in Hindi. I will say Bollywood dialogues in English. In big countries, small things keep happening, senorita. All right. So obviously, in financial statements, there would always be some errors here and there. But we are worried that there should not be a big error or fraud. All right. So whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. Whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. Material misstatements, comma, whether due to error or fraud. That means simply when you are on a cup of tea, you know, bro, there should not be big errors in financial statement. There should not be big fraud in financial statement. But when you're writing it, whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. All right. Hello. You are going to express an opinion on the financial statements. All right. Now, financial statements are prepared based upon recipe given by some chef show or what. Financial statements are prepared based upon accounting standards, right? Based upon the final accounts format. Now tell me, in Companies Act, if you're conducting audit of a company, then financial statements of company are prepared based upon Schedule 3 of Companies Act. Very good, Ritvik. Yes. Schedule 3 of Companies Act. Then accounting standards. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Okay. So technically, what is Schedule 3 of Companies Act and accounting standards from the auditor's angle? All right. There is one word for this. All right. And I will be introducing that word. Whether financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. So auditor will verify this to enable him to express an opinion. To enable him to express an opinion. Down arrow. Whether financial statements. First write it, then I will explain it. Don't worry. Whether financial statements have been materially prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework. Very good, Vishesh. Yes, applicable financial reporting framework. Very simple. What is the meaning of this word applicable financial reporting framework? The guidelines based upon which entity prepares financial statements. So what is the meaning of this word AFRF? The guidelines based upon which entity prepares financial statements. Example, in case of companies, it is Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013 plus accounting standards, or Ind AS as applicable to the company. So every entity that you're auditing has a set of guidelines based upon which they prepare the financial statement. So obviously, when I'm expressing an opinion, my opinion will be whether financial statements have been materially prepared as per my face, no, as per the applicable financial reporting framework. All right. That is what people want me to express an opinion upon, that whether the company has followed a Schedule 3, accounting standards, whatever was applicable to that entity. All right. So I want a confirmation. Are you clear and comfortable with this word AFRF? Because I'll be using it 100 times in audit. If you're not clear, just write no in the chat box. Bindass, don't worry. Applicable financial reporting framework. All right. So come on. Say it at once. Everyone say the full objective at once so that you feel confident. All right. So objective of auditor as expressed in essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor and conduct of audit in accordance with standards in auditing. That's the title of the essay. The objective of auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance, means in simple language, to first verify. All right. To obtain reasonable assurance, but not a guarantee. High level of assurance, but not a guarantee. To obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from Britishers' rule, whether financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to error or fraud. Why he is verifying this? To enable him to express an opinion on whether financial statements have been materially prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework. This is the simple language objective. Understood this? This is how you are going to write in exams. Obviously in words, not by this down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. All right, listen to me. Listen to me. This opinion, you will write it in some report, na? You will write it in some report, no? That report is called as audit report. So obviously, the last line of objective is and to report in accordance with essays and his audit findings. So you will develop the audit report as per standards on auditing, and you will write in that report as per whatever are your findings, whatever is your evidence, to report in accordance with essays and his audit findings. No matter how many students I have met, whether inter-CA or final CA, what happens is whenever I ask what are the objectives of auditor, to express an opinion. But I'm not asking you on a cup of tea. I'm a professor. When I'm asking you objective of auditor, I want to know in technical language. And even final CA students are missing out on some important words. And that's the sad story. They will always want that a CA student should know about objectives of audit very clearly. All right. So everyone over here, look at this. Because this is also module question, as you can see, question of 3 marks. You have a question of 3 marks also in the paper. As per essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor. In conducting an audit of financial statement, the overall objectives of auditor are to obtain, come on, one more time, reasonable assurance about whether financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to error or fraud, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on whether financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with an applicable financial reporting framework. Then to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by essays in accordance with the audit findings. All right. Now, there are few points which I've put as extra note. It's not clearly given in the module, but these points are very important for the whole audit subject. All right, because these points you will keep finding in various chapters. So tell me, preparation and presentation of financial statements. Who will prepare the financial statements? M for management or A for auditor? Of course, M for management. So preparation and presentation of financial statement will be the responsibility of management. All right, I'm going to check it. I'm not going to prepare it. Correct. But if there is a fraud in the financial statements, then will auditor be held responsible for that? Will auditor be held responsible for that? All right, this is a tricky question. If there is a fraud in the financial statements, let me tell you that how legal authorities will check it. First, they will hold management responsible, because for sure, if there is a fraud in the financial statement, they need to catch the management first. Whether auditor will be held responsible or not, it depends upon whether auditor has performed his work, properly or not. Because if auditor did not take proper care while performing the work, only then auditor can be held responsible. So whenever someone is questioning you about whether auditor is responsible, for failure to detect fraud, whether auditor is liable for failure to detect fraud or not, for that you have to look at these points. Everyone, look at the second point. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is the main responsibility, primary responsibility of management. Why they have used this word primary responsibility of management? Because it is the main responsibility of management. But it's not like there is no responsibility of the auditor. Auditor is expected to work with questioning mind. Auditor is expected to maintain alertness. And if there is something suspicious, then auditor is expected to investigate further. All right. So primary responsibility of the management, but secondary responsibility of the auditor. Auditor's duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. Let me be very clear that auditor was not appointed to detect fraud. Auditor was appointed to express an opinion on the financial statement. So his main duty is always to express an opinion on the financial statements. All right. And when auditor is performing his work, auditor is expected to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism. That means work with questioning mind and maintaining alertness. You would have heard a famous line in audit that auditor is a watchdog and not a bloodhound. He needs to work with a questioning mind and not a suspicious mind. Hello, straight away you can't act like this. You run a construction company, no? Construction company, what? Full black money. Full fraudulent, huh? From top to bottom, full fraudulent. How much black money you have in that Swiss bank account? You can't act in this manner. Hello, You are not a bloodhound, you are a watchdog. If there is something to suggest a suspicion, then you investigate it further. Understood this? So he needs to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, questioning mind, maintaining alertness, and not a suspicious mind. Not a suspicious mind. All right. Then fifth point is the main gist. Auditor can be held responsible for fraud. Auditor can be held responsible for fraud only if it is proved in the court of law that auditor was negligent in the conduct of his professional duties. Auditor was careless in the conduct of his professional duties. Only if this is proved, then he can be held responsible in the court of law, otherwise not. All right. And boss, auditor cannot provide a guarantee. Auditor cannot provide a guarantee. What he provides is a reasonable assurance. Why? Because even audit has some limitations. We will be talking about those limitations in a separate concept, but even audit has some limitations. All right. So these 6 points that you see over here, you will never forget these points, because this is your hall ticket for audit paper. This is your hall ticket for audit paper. All right. Because this is the main gist of audit, the main premise of audit, the main logic of audit. So come on, everyone, in one voice. So preparation, presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of management. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is the primary responsibility of management. Now, what is the duty of auditor? Auditor's duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. Yes. Then auditor is expected to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, that is questioning mind, maintaining alertness. All right. He needs to work based upon evidence and not based upon some suspicion. All right. Auditor can be held responsible for fraud only if it is proved that he was grossly negligent. That means he was careless, that someone needs to prove it. Otherwise, auditor will not be held responsible for fraud. And auditing is a reasonable assurance, and auditing is not a guarantee, because even auditing suffers from some limitations that we will discuss in a separate concept. I want a confirmation. Is everyone through with this? Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right. What kind of question I am expecting from objectives of audit? You know, in your module at the end, there are test your knowledge questions. Yeah. There they have asked this objectives of audit. So that is why this becomes very important. It's a module question. All right. So they can test your test objectives of audit at any point of time. But what if I am the paper setter? What I will do is I will put 4 marks question, 2 marks on objectives of audit, and 2 marks question on whether auditor is liable for detection of fraud and stuff. All right. So I will test both the knowledge in a 4 marks question rather than giving a 3 marks question in objectives of audit. I'm a very bad paper setter. All right. Done? Yes, sir. Okay. Now we are done with this concept of objectives of audit. And we saw that I told you that boss, auditing also suffers from some limitations. All right. So let us talk about these limitations. So you will also be interested in the subject. All right. Please come to this concept number 6 over here. Yes. Inherent limitations of audit. Boss, I cannot define the importance of this concept in marks. All right. Every single point that you see over here could be an examination question. Now, will you believe that inherent limitations of audit, in this, the last point, this 4th point, this was asked in final CA July 21, whether they remember it from inter-CA book or not. All right. So what, I mean, throughout your life, you know, till the point of time you're a CA student, you can never forget this concept. Inherent limitations of audit. Everyone over here, what do you understand by the word inherent limitations? Inherent limitations means something that is unavoidable, something that you cannot eliminate. No matter how much ever you try, no matter how much ever you put the efforts, but still you cannot 100% eliminate it. All right. That is called as inherent limitations. Today, I can reduce my weight a little bit, and you know, I can run 5 kilometers. I can reduce it further. I can run 10 kilometers. All right. But even if I, you know, get full athlete body, still I can't work, run for 150 kilometers at once, right? That is inherent limitation. Something that you can improve is not inherent limitation. Inherent limitation means you try everything and still you cannot improve upon it. Unavoidable, you cannot eliminate it. All right. Okay. So if you go to sleep right now, that's not inherent limitation. You can work upon it. You can improve it. All right. But you can't stay awake for 24 hours. Okay. So auditor is not expected to. Auditor is not expected, and he cannot reduce his audit risk to zero. Even audit subject tells this, that auditor cannot reduce his audit risk to zero. He cannot therefore obtain absolute assurance. Guarantee is not possible that financial statements are free from material misstatements. Why? Because there are inherent limitations of an audit. And you see inherent limitations one by one over here. Now listen to me. Every single point goes slow. All right. You need to actually feel convinced that yes, this is the inherent limitation. That means even if you try your level best, still you cannot eliminate it. All right. So first, the nature of financial reporting. Write down everyone over here. First inherent limitation comes from the nature of financial reporting. Hello. Whenever you see these two words, financial reporting, that is nothing but financial statements only. Understood this? Now tell me, our financial statements, they contain balance sheet, they contain P&L. Inside the balance sheet P&L, there are so many items which are dependent upon estimates, like provisions, like depreciation. All right. These things are dependent upon estimates. Okay. In fact, in some entities, even revenue recognition is dependent upon estimates. Right? Like construction company, how much percentage work has been completed. So can I say that provisions, such kind of revenue recognition, depreciation, contingent liabilities, these things are judgments, estimates, valuation, and there cannot be one single standard rule for this? Can I say that there can be various levels of interpretation? Management may think that X figure is correct. Auditor may think that Y figure is correct. Neither management is correct, nor auditor is correct. Neither they are wrong, nor auditor is wrong. So can I say that because these things are dependent upon judgment, auditor cannot get 100% conclusive evidence? Yes or no, sir? Because these things are dependent upon judgment. So obviously, auditor cannot provide guarantee because of these reasons. This is the biggest reason why auditor cannot provide guarantee. The nature of financial statements. The preparation of financial statement involves judgment by management in applying the requirements of applicable financial reporting framework. That means the accounting standards and stuff. Hence, there could be range of acceptable estimates, judgments, or interpretation. There could be range of acceptable estimates, assumptions, judgment, interpretation. You can write anything. Estimates or interpretation that can be made. And the biggest problem is that management may intentionally or unintentionally under-recognize or over-recognize. An auditor still cannot say that they have committed a fraud because these things are based upon judgment. All right. Auditor cannot obtain conclusive evidence. Please write down. 100% we can never verify these things whether they are correct or not. What is the meaning of the word conclusive evidence? 100% proof, where you don't have any doubt. Auditor cannot obtain conclusive evidence. Yes, first point, everyone agrees to this? Yes, sir. Okay. The second limitation is the nature of audit procedures. The nature of audit procedures. There is a joke. People in the economy, they say that auditor should be able to detect everything. Auditor should be able to do this. But they forget that with great power comes great responsibility. Then bloody with limited power comes limited responsibility. In Companies Act 2013, we have not been given legal rights also properly. Appointment of auditor is done based upon the recommendations of the board of directors. What is this bullshit? So we have to maintain good relations with them, if we want to get appointed as an auditor. And you expect us to audit them also in good details. So obviously there are so many legal problems when it comes to the nature of audit procedure. Auditor has been given limited legal power. Auditor has been given limited legal power to introduce one section in company law that if management does not give the data, then auditor can complain to Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and within 3 days, management will be taken into judicial custody. If the data is not given to the auditor, then management will give the data and also its beta to the auditor. Are you understanding this? Yes. So there are legal limitations. There are legal limitations. What can I do? There are legal limitations in audit. Secondly, there are also practical problems. So practical problems like you have to deal with humans when you are conducting audit. Now humans can be moody. Sometimes they may give the data. Sometimes they may not give the data. All right. Sometimes they may give you the complete information. They may not give you the complete information. Plus the biggest comedy in standards and auditing is that everywhere in every chapter they have written auditors should discuss the matter with management before coming to the conclusion. Discuss the matter. Discuss the matter. Every time if we keep on discussing, then obviously they will start influencing us. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So there are PL limitations, practical and legal limitations. Everyone, please write down. The biggest mistakes that students are committing in this point is they are just covering the point of legal limitations. But you need to understand there are practical problems and legal problems also. There are practical and legal limitations on auditors' ability to obtain audit evidence. For example, now why I was explaining this point in great detail, I know I'm taking a fast track course and not a seminar. Why I was explaining this point? Because only this particular point can be asked as a 3 marks question. All right. That there are practical and legal limitations. Please explain with examples. Understood this? So you have to give them examples. First, there is a practical possibility that management or others may not provide intentionally or unintentionally the information to the auditor. Information to the auditor. Sometimes people don't provide complete information here. And we are not going there like CBI officers, no. We are not raiding them. We have to talk so peacefully with them. So possibility that management or others may not provide complete information to the auditor. Second, yes. Next, auditor is not expected to be an expert in authentication of documents. Obviously, yes. For example, as an auditor, when we verify the inventory of the client, we are not going to be like, oh, let us send these samples to the laboratory. Let us understand the quality of this product. Yeah. Oh, Baba, oi. You are not from some Food and Drug Association of India. Understood this? You are going to conduct normal audit and you are going to see the quantities and you will check it and finish it off. Understood this? And you will see whether it is in usable condition or not. That's it. So you're not expected to be an expert in authentication of documents. All right. Have you seen auditors acting like this mad in practical life? If at all you have seen practical life documents, show me the document. Oh, send this to laboratory for fingerprint analysis. Let us understand who has touched upon this document. Of course not. Okay. Therefore, audit procedures used to gather audit evidence may be ineffective for detecting fraud. Our procedures are not designed in such a manner only to detect fraud. We are professional people conducting professional examination. All right. That is what they are again explaining, that audit is not an official investigation. Audit is not an official investigation. We are going there to examine the financial statements and not to catch the collar of the management and ask them about fraud. And hence, auditor is not given specific legal powers. Oy, you will explain these 3 examples, huh? So that you are getting 3 marks. Understood this? I am telling you that they will ask this separately, this point for 3 marks. All right. Yes, yes. Specific legal powers. All right. See, Ritvik, I will tell you. Every single example that I have given over here, correct? This is a fast track book. So little bit trimming of every point is done. I have spent my maximum time in my life in behind fast track books, not behind regular course book. Because in fast track book, you have to cover every single point. Plus, you have to ensure that it is done in a reasonable time. Plus, you have to ensure that students also score marks. All right. So obviously, you will find that every single point is covered, but little bit trimming has been done to ensure that students focus on the main part. All right. But I'm so happy, Ritvik, with your points that specific legal powers of power of search and stuff is not given over here. Done? Yes, yes. Okay. Now listen to me. As I told you, May 22 modules, there have been there have been some revisions. They have included few points. Okay. Now, in May 22 modules, they have included this particular point in great details. All right. That audit is not an investigation. Okay. Now look at this. Difference between audit and investigation. They've included this point in great details. I will come to this point. Wait. But if I start teaching this point right now, then the flow will be broken. We go back to the point. We go back to the point. All right. So inherent limitations of audit. Okay. There are two limitations that I've explained. Nature of FA. F for financial statements and A for audit procedures. Short में please tell me. Financial statements have estimates and estimates have range of acceptable interpretations, and that is why auditor cannot obtain conclusive evidence. Audit procedures, there are practical and legal limitations, and you will explain with examples to them. All right, at least 3 examples that you should be aware of, because that can come as a separate examination question. The next limitation is so simple. Every middle class person will understand. Look at this third, cost and time. Everyone is struggling with this. Okay. The timeliness of financial reporting. You have studied company law, or at least you know basics of that. You know that before the annual general meeting, the audited financial statements, audit report, everything needs to be ready so that it can be circulated amongst the shareholders. Then there is a deadline of filing the audited copies of financial statements with ROC. Then obviously in listed companies, there are more strict deadlines of submitting the financial statements. So because of this timeliness of financial reporting, that means the deadlines which are set by law, obviously we cannot conduct audit of all the transactions. We cannot verify 100% of transactions. So we will be conducting audit on sampling basis. And because of that, we may miss out on some fraud or error. So timeliness of financial reporting and balance between benefit and cost. So I do not have this problem that students will not be able to explain this point. I know students will write it very nicely, but I am worried about few words and concepts what you're going to write over there. Okay, so let us read. I have printed the most important line that I want in your answer. When you talk about this cost and benefit, their students are not writing good point. What they're writing, auditor also has limited remuneration. Then auditor cannot incur too much of expense, and auditor cannot perform full procedure. Why are you sounding as if you are struggling financially in your life? Understood this? So what is cost benefit analysis? Whatever information auditor wants to get, he needs to assess the value of the information and whether it is worth to incur that cost or not. Whether it is worth to incur that cost or not, that is cost benefit analysis. Understood this? So look at how you're supposed to write. Don't write like a below poverty line person. Look at this. There is a balance to be struck. When you're writing, answer should be branded. There is a balance to be struck between reliability of information and its cost. This line students are missing out on it. So I want this line. So auditor has to keep on thinking about whether it is worth to incur the cost or not. Timeliness of financial reporting, students can explain on their own. I have no issues over there. Okay. However, one more line which students are not writing properly. Acha, tell me something. Everyone over here. Everyone over here. Let us say that you are conducting audit of Vodafone Idea Limited. Let us say this comes as a case study. You are conducting audit of Vodafone Idea Limited. Vodafone Idea is suffering from so many legal cases, debts and stuff. Although many of their cases are now cleared and the company is on an upward trajectory. But obviously, Vodafone Idea suffering from lots of litigations, indebtedness, lots of problems with the government. So you are the auditor of Vodafone Idea Limited and you have not been given your remuneration for the last year. You haven't been given your remuneration for the last year. And you are still continuing to conduct audit of Vodafone Idea Limited. There are 45 legal cases on Vodafone Idea Limited. You want an expert advice from a lawyer to understand the impact of these legal cases. You want an expert advice from a lawyer to understand the impact of these legal cases. You have concluded that there is no other way. You will have to appoint a lawyer. Only then you will understand the impact of these legal cases. The lawyer is quoting fees of rupees 10 lakhs to give you this consultancy. Management of Vodafone Idea Limited is not ready to pay you that money. Will you incur the cost of rupees 10 lakhs from your own pocket if you want to continue this audit? Yes or no, sir? Ritvik. Very aggressive auditor. To the management, bro? Okay. Will you incur the cost from your own pocket to appoint this lawyer for rupees 10 lakhs? Yes or no, sir? Sir, we don't incur the cost for our idli also, sir. Why will we incur the cost for this lawyer, sir? Listen to me. I gave you a very important hint in the answer. I said you have concluded that there is no other way, and you will have to appoint a lawyer to come to a conclusion. Today, if you are not well, and if you need to be hospitalized, and if there is not enough money in the bank balance, all right, whether your parents will take you to a hospital, yes or no, sir? Yes, I know, sir, but actually there is not enough money, so we will not go to hospital. We will die over here only. So I'm sorry to give you this example. I'm sorry to touch your emotions, but only then you will be awake, because this is afternoon time also. So I have to ensure that you are awake. So there will be some melodramatic discussions. Why are you saying yes over here? Sir, because there is no other way. Otherwise, I will die, sir. Similarly, I told you in the question that there is no other way. Auditor has concluded that only this can satisfy him. So either you resign, all right. But if you want to continue, you please incur those 10 lakh rupees. Are you getting my point? Yes, 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 sir. Yes, Gomati, correct. So look at this. Now I'm making you write one line. I want everyone to be focused on this line. The matter of DTC, difficulty, time or cost. The matter of DTC, difficulty, time or cost involved is not in itself a valid basis for auditor to omit an audit procedure for which there is no alternative. Boss, you can go for less expensive procedures provided it satisfies you. You cannot compromise the quality of evidence and say that I will not perform this procedure just because there is some cost involved. So matter of DTC involved is not in itself a valid basis for auditor to omit an audit procedure. Remember the last phrase, for which there is no alternative. All right. Now let me give you one more example. Come on. I need to develop your fundamentals so that in further chapters there is no problem. Let us say, that is why I'll be going slow over here. Let us say that you want to verify the physical stock of HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. All right. As on 31st March 2020, that don't talk about 2020, sir. Wait. The 31st March 2020, 25th March, lockdown is announced. All right. And you are not able to visit the storage locations of Hindustan Unilever Limited. And you are not able to physically verify the stock. Because it was a sudden lockdown. There is no video conferencing facility available in those storage locations. So you won't be able to verify that stock even via another way. And tell me, in order to be satisfied whether inventory actually exists or not, can I say that the best evidence is going there physically and verifying it over there? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no, sir? What is the best evidence to understand whether inventory is actually there or not? What is the best evidence? To physically visit there and verify it. That is the best evidence. But let us say if it is impossible to do so, tell me, in a lockdown situation where government has put a curfew, will you still go via railway tracks and over there for physical verification of inventory? You can send your article. No? Of course not. Then what are you supposed to do? Will you perform some alternate procedures? Let us say that there is no alternative that can satisfy you. Assuming that there is no alternative that can satisfy you, then what you will do? Let us say it is not possible to postpone the stock audit also. And then what will you do? Arey sir, listen. Time please, listen. Then you are supposed to at least write it in your report. All right. So remember two things. First, if there is a DTC, difficulty, time or cost, all right, and if there is no other alternative, then you must take that difficulty, you must incur that time, you must incur that cost. However, if it is impossible to perform the procedure because of threats to the safety of auditor, all right, if it is impossible to perform the procedure because of threats to the safety of auditor, at least you are expected to write it in the audit report. Sir, how to write in audit report? For that, there is a separate 3-hour lecture. Are you understanding this? So how you will write things in audit report, what is there in audit report, that's a completely different discussion. We'll do it later on. But I am developing the base as of now. So everyone come on, tell me yes or no kind of question. Yes. If there is difficulty, time or cost involved, but there is an alternate procedure which can satisfy you, can you go for that alternate procedure? Yes. If there is difficulty, time, cost involved, but there is alternate procedure that can satisfy you, can you go for that alternate procedure? Yes, sir. If there is no alternate procedure and there is only one procedure that can satisfy you, can I say you will have to take the DTC? You will have to take the DTC? Yes. But if it is impossible to perform the audit report, if it is impossible to perform that audit procedure, then at least you are supposed to write it in the audit report. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now you are sounding like proper audit subject students. So everyone over here, please put a hashtag. And you can use this space. However, if it is impossible to perform audit procedure, example lockdown, and if there is no alternative, then auditor should mention such fact in audit report. However, if it is impossible to perform audit procedure and if there is no alternative, then auditor should mention such fact in audit report. All right, we'll go slow. Voice is not clear. Now, hello. Okay. Auditor should mention such fact in audit report. Ritvik, this language that you're using, it seems that you have already studied audit once. All right. So I can clearly understand. So this modify the audit report and stuff. All right. These kind of words I will explain when I teach standards on auditing. All right. Whether it will be qualified opinion, disclaimer of opinion, stuff. All right. But I'm very happy with your answers. But I will be talking about those words when I teach standards on auditing. Okay. We are going, I told you I'm assuming that as if I'm teaching fresh students only. Yes, done. Okay. If you plan your audit appropriately, so appropriately planning will assist in making sufficient time and resources available for conduct of audit. All right. We are going slow. We are understanding that bloody every single point can be a good point over here. So we are understanding the concept of inherent limitations of audit, unavoidable limitations in that. First, because of nature of financial statements, there are estimates in that, and that is why we cannot provide a guarantee. Second, audit procedures have practical and legal limitations, and there are examples over here which can be asked as separate examination question. Then this point that the matter of DTC is not in itself a valid basis to omit the procedure for which there is no alternative. However, if it is impossible to perform the procedure and if there is no alternative, we are at least expected to mention such fact in our audit report. All right. Now, the last point is, wow, the sundry point, other matters that affect limitations of an audit. Obviously, the points that they have given over here, these are in simple words, these are the difficult areas of audit. When you're auditing these things, it is very difficult to find out error or fraud. I will convince you on this. Tell me, going concern. Can you predict the future of the entity? Can you predict the future of the entity? No, it is so uncertain. So obviously going concern is such an area where bloody you cannot provide an absolute assurance. You cannot give a guarantee. All right. Then listen to me. If someone has committed a fraud, don't you think that the person who is committing fraud will manipulate everything smartly? If management itself is committing fraud, they will manipulate everything smartly. Yes, sir. And when someone commits a fraud, they manipulate it so nicely that it becomes very difficult to detect that particular fraud. All right. Then today, if I am not complying with GST laws. Let us say I'm collecting GST from you and I'm not paying to the government. Don't you think that I will develop something through which I can fool my audit report? I mean my auditor. I will try to develop some documents through which I can fool my auditor. All right. Or at least I will do something that I will collect fees from you in cash. Okay. And I will not pay the GST. My auditor will never come to know about how many deviations have happened over here. So when someone actually violates laws and regulation, they do it so smartly that it is very difficult for the auditor to detect the non-compliance with laws and regulations. Understood this? Yes, sir. Okay. Then I don't know whether you have heard about ILNFS fraud, Satyam Computers, this, that. There are so many frauds in the market. You know, there are so many frauds in the market, and there is one common thing in all these frauds. Just analyze Satyam Computers, ILNFS, this, that, everywhere. They created so many companies and they circulated monies amongst those companies. All right. So if I am one company, I will create n number of subsidiary companies. I will create one company in foreign. I'll come create one company in India. Shell companies, yes, fake companies. These companies are actually the related parties. All right. These companies are actually the related parties. And people, what they do is I will collect money from the general public and I will distribute the money amongst my related parties in such a manner that you will not be able to detect it. Understood this? So these four areas are such areas where anyways it becomes very difficult for the auditor to find out the fraud because management smartly manipulates these things. Look at this. In case of certain subject matters, limitation, can you interpret this line in English? Limitation on auditors' ability to detect material misstatements are significant. That means the chances of failure are high. The chances of failure are high. Such assertions or subject matters. Such matters include, if you can see over here, I've given one code word that my GF is related to my in-laws. Okay. So G for going concern. But you have to explain why it is difficult. Understood this? You have to explain why it is difficult. Going concern, why it is difficult? Because it is not possible to predict future outcome. It is not possible to predict future outcome. Okay. F for fraud. Why it is difficult to identify fraud? Because in fraud, there is a well-planned manipulation, concealment, manipulation. By the management. Then R for related party transactions. Yes. R for related party transactions. Listen to me. I will be discussing in great details about related party transactions in chapter 3. That why it is difficult to find out the errors, fraud in related party transactions. Then non-compliance with laws and regulations. Non-compliance with laws and regulations. Why it is difficult to find out errors, fraud over here? Because there is intentional manipulation by management. Normally, ignorance to law is not an excuse. So normally, if non-compliance with law is there, then it would be intentional. 90% of time, it is possible that it could be intentional rather than unintentional. All right. Bolo, for these 4 points, they were giving 4 marks in July 21 finals. Yeah, question number 1, compulsory question that asked this point from interest year knowledge. Okay. So everyone over here, come on. The code is facto for inherent limitation, F for financial statements, nature of financial statements, A for nature of audit procedures, C for cost, T for time, so cost and time point, and then O for other matters. And for that other matters, there is a code word GF related to my in-laws. Am I clear with this? Yes, yes, sir. Okay. Now the questions. Look at question number 11. Correct or incorrect with reasons in short. The matter of DTC, read this properly. Huh? I've put some trap over here. Read this properly. Because normally by this time students are sleepy, so that is why. The matter of difficulty, time or cost involved. DTC is a valid basis for the auditor to omit an audit procedure for which there is an alternative that can provide satisfactory evidence. Correct or incorrect? Correct or incorrect? Come on. Of course it is correct. Yes, very good. For students who said incorrect, they committed silly mistake. They haven't read the question properly. The matter of DTC, if there's difficulty, time or cost, of course it can be a valid excuse if you have an alternate procedure which can satisfy you. So if there is an alternative, it's not written there is not an alternative. If there is an alternative that can satisfy you, then obviously, matter of DTC is, a valid basis to omit a particular procedure. Understood this? Yes, yes. So correct. And in that reasons, in the reasons part, you will write this particular line, this particular paragraph. So you can write down over here question number 11. So you can give a cross reference, the reasons part. Refer above points. Okay. Yes, the only mistake the students committed over here was silly mistake, nothing else. It happens in the exams also, no? That one or two words you haven't read and you actually know the concept, but you commit a silly mistake. That's all right. Okay, it will not happen now. So I never believe that students are not intelligent. Of course, they're intelligent. It is all about the awareness, alertness in the paper. Question number 10. An audit is not an official investigation into alleged wrongdoing. Obviously, audit is an audit and it is not an official investigation. All right. You are going there to examine the financial statements, express an opinion, not to catch the collar over there and find out the fraud. An audit is not an investigation into alleged wrongdoing. Explain the difference between audit and investigation. All right. Hello. So what do you guys do when there is a difference question? Audit, investigation. First point, meaning. Okay. You can give this presentation also, it is fine. If you like it in this manner, it is okay. You can give this presentation also. But in module, they have given it in paragraph form. So even if you write it in paragraph form, it is fine. All right. Not every distinguished between will require this. So look at this. First, you have to write the meaning. What is audit? What is investigation? Investigation is audit. We know the definition. Yeah. We know the objective also. All right. So we need to now see what is given in the investigation part. Investigation is a critical examination. Investigation is always about something specific. Hello, in my departmental store, I suspect that my cashier has misappropriated the cash. Investigate. Very specific and very critical. All right. Investigation is a critical examination with a special purpose. For example, if fraud is suspected and it is specifically called upon to check the accounts whether fraud really exists. This is the character of investigation. Done. So which are the words that you will remember for investigation? Critical examination, special purpose. Bolo. Critical examination, special purpose. Okay. Next, what is the objective of audit? We are already done with this. Therefore, this is a very good point. This is the heart of the answer. Audit is never started with a preconceived notion about state of affairs. You don't start audit with presumptions or assumptions. All right. For example, I told you, construction company, fraud, cash, Swiss bank, Oi, are you going to start it in this manner? No. So audit never starts with a preconceived notion because auditor is supposed to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, questioning mind, maintaining alertness. So audit never starts with a preconceived notion. Audit never starts with a presumption. Audit never starts with a presumption. wrongdoing, about some wrong having been committed. The auditor seeks to report what he finds in the normal course of examination. Whereas investigation, what he will do, what is the investigator, what he is going to do? He's going to consider all the possibilities when he is investigating. Okay, it is a construction company. It is very much possible that they have generated some black money. It is possible that they have evaded the tax. All right. So they can start with some preconceived notion. It is quite possible that sometimes investigations result from prima facie findings of auditor. So auditor has found something given to the management, and then management may further conduct investigation. But auditor will never do the job of an investigator. It may happen that auditor has given some findings of serious concerns. Such findings may call for an investigation. So let me be very clear. First, you will explain the difference in their meaning and objective. In that, you know already the definition of audit and objective, so you will write that. An investigation, you will say critical examination, specific purpose. Then the main difference is that audit never starts with a preconceived notion. Auditor always goes based upon some evidence and the possibilities. All right. Whereas investigation can start with a preconceived notion. All right. That is the major difference. And obviously, you can talk about the legal powers also. Auditor does not have the powers of investigation, the powers of search and stuff, whereas investigator can be given wide legal powers to conduct his investigation. All right, you can add some points also if you want to add, don't worry about it. So that is your question number 10, that audit is not an official investigation. Harsh, finally I can say that I'm done with this concept of inherent limitations. Everyone, what are the possible questions? Look at this. One question on full concept of inherent limitations, correct? Where you have to explain facto in short points. All right. Then there can be a question on nature of audit procedures, where they will ask you to explain with examples. Then this matter of DTC is not a valid basis to omit the procedure for which there is no alternative for correct or incorrect. And then other matters that affect limitation, 4 examples over there, 4 matters over there, that can be asked as 4 marks or 3 marks examination question. And then this audit is not an official investigation. All right. So there are so many questions possible from this concept of inherent limitation. Am I done with this? Yes. Are you through over here? Anyone who has not understood anything? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.5, 0. Okay, order. So we are done with 3 concepts up till now. First, meaning definition of audit. Second, objectives of audit. Third, what are the limitations of auditor because of which he cannot provide absolute assurance. Now we will be starting with the concept of scope of audit. Scope.